Hi everyone, welcome back to Frugal Watchbox channel. It's been 10 months since I picked up the Skmei 2146 for just $7, a price so low it felt like I was getting away with something, and today we're taking a look at how it has held up over time. I've worn it occasionally, mostly for casual wear, but never for swimming or anything too demanding. When not in use, I keep it stored, and despite that, it has remained in great shape with barely any scratches. So, durability-wise, it's doing just fine. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. This watch is not just inspired by the Casio A171. It's a straight-up copy. Skmei has essentially taken Casio's design blueprint and replicated it with a few tweaks. And to be honest, that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're someone who loves the vintage digital watch aesthetic but wants a more affordable option. Speaking of aesthetics, this watch is a throwback to the digital watch designs of the 70s and 80s, an era when digital timepieces were considered futuristic and cutting-edge. Back then, Casio and other brands set the standard with their sleek, minimalist, and highly functional designs. These watches weren't just accessories. They were symbols of the digital revolution, featuring simple yet effective LCD displays, compact layouts, and practical features like alarms and stopwatches. Skmei has captured that nostalgic charm almost perfectly. The 2146 brings that old-school retro-futuristic vibe with its classic rectangular digital screen, metallic case, and simple button layout. But here's where Skmei has an advantage: the metal case. Unlike the Casio A171, which has a resin case, the Skmei 2146 is made of metal, giving it a much heavier feel on the wrist. This extra weight makes it feel more rugged and sturdy, which is a nice bonus for those who prefer watches with a bit more substance. It doesn't feel flimsy or cheap, and that's something I really appreciate at this price point. Another detail worth mentioning is how the metal case perfectly matches the stainless steel bracelet. Unlike some watches where the case and bracelet feel like two separate parts, here they blend seamlessly, giving the watch a more cohesive and premium look. The polished metal finish enhances the vintage appeal, making it feel more like a proper throwback timepiece rather than just another budget digital watch. So, after 10 months, is this budget-friendly Casio clone still ticking strong? Is it worth considering over the original? Let's dive into the full review and find out. Alright, let's go over the dimensions for those new to this watch. Case size, 38mm, nice and compact, won't take over your wrist. Lug-to-lug distance, about 39mm, so it stays comfy even on smaller wrists. Thickness, 9.3mm, slim enough to slide under a cuff, but not so thin that you forget it's there. Lug width, 18mm, which means plenty of strap options if you ever want to switch things up. Weight, around 74.4 grams, thanks to the alloy case and stainless steel bracelet. Heavier than a resin watch, but not wrist-breaking. It's got a solid feel without being a wrist anchor. The metal build adds a bit of heft, which I actually like. It makes the watch feel more premium than its price suggests. Unlike some ultralight digital watches that feel like they might float away in a strong breeze, this one stays put. Now, if you're wondering how this holds up against the Casio A171, I've already done a comparison video. Spoiler alert, Skmei really didn't try to hide the inspiration here. But if you want to see all the details, the link is up there. Go check it out. The case and bezel are made of alloy with a silver-plated finish. It's not stainless steel, but for a budget watch, it still looks and feels solid. The bezel is round and slightly raised, almost like a mini case sitting on top of the main one. It adds a bit of depth to the design rather than just being a flat slab of metal. Now let's talk about the buttons. Skmei went with 4 metal buttons, giving it a nice, uniform look. On the right side, you get 2 buttons. Top button handles 3 functions: toggle alarm on-off, switch between 12-hour and 24-hour formats, and start/stop functions. Bottom button, reset, because sometimes we all need a fresh start. On the left side, you get 2 more buttons. top button, controls the backlight, because sometimes you just need to check the time in complete darkness like a secret agent. Bottom button, the mode button, which cycles through the different functions. Moving to the dial, there are blue and white lines around the crystal, adding a little extra visual detail. The Skmei logo is proudly displayed at the top, because branding is important, right? Below that, you'll see Water 30M Resist, with 30M printed in bold red, just in case you forget and decide to take it swimming, which, by the way, I wouldn't recommend. On the display panel, you get, at the top, small icons for alarm, hourly chime, and 12/24 mode selection. To the right, the day and date display, because keeping track of time isn't just about the hour. At the bottom, the hour, minute, and seconds in slightly larger digits for easy readability. Overall, it's a simple yet functional layout, keeping things easy to read without overwhelming the screen. The bracelet has a design very similar to the Casio A171. If you want a full side-by-side comparison, check out the video link I provided earlier. Now let's talk quality. It feels robust, and based on the imprint on the underside, I'd say it's real stainless steel, or at least Skmei wants us to believe so. Either way, for a $7 watch, I'll take their word for it. Does it feel premium? Not really. In fact, it has the same cheap, lightweight feel as the Casio A171's bracelet. It rattles, the folded links don't inspire much confidence, and if you shake your wrist too hard, you might think you're wearing a tiny percussion instrument. But honestly, at this price, what do you expect? For just $7, getting a metal bracelet at all is already a win. It's acceptable for what it is, functional, adjustable, and it keeps the watch on your wrist. And hey, if you don't like it, you can always swap it out for a nice leather or nylon strap to give it a different look. Flipping the watch over, we get to the case back, and right away, something's missing. There's no stainless steel imprint anywhere. So, chances are this isn't stainless steel, but just some kind of metal. What kind of metal? Well, let's just say it's metal enough to do the job. It's not going to rust overnight, but don't expect it to have the longevity of a high-end watch case back. Now, let's check out the imprints. Skmei logo, front and center, proudly stamped like a badge of honor. Model number, printed at the top, just in case you forget what watch you bought. 3 ATM, which sounds fancy, but don't be fooled. This means 30 meters of water resistance, which, in reality, means don't take it swimming. It might survive a few splashes while washing your hands, but diving into a pool with this on? That's just asking for trouble. One more useful detail, there's info on the battery code, CR 2016. This is a pretty common battery used in digital watches, and while Skmei doesn't officially state how long it lasts, these typically run for about 2 to 3 years before needing a swap. So unless you're constantly using the backlight like a flashlight or pressing buttons for fun, you won't have to worry about changing it anytime soon. Overall, the case back does what it needs to do, keeps the internals protected, provides some basic specs, and reminds you that this watch isn't built for deep-sea adventures. Now, let's talk about something that really surprised me, the viewing angles. For a budget digital watch, I wasn't expecting much, but guess what? It's actually on par with Casio. Flipping the watch left or right, the numbers stay sharp and clear. No weird distortions, no fading, and, most importantly, no ghosting. You don't see any extra digits lurking in the background, like some budget digital watches where it looks like a haunted display trying to show every number at once. For just $7, this is remarkable. Usually, at this price range, you'd expect some trade-offs, maybe a screen that only looks good when viewed straight on, or one that disappears the moment you tilt your wrist. But nope, Skmei somehow nailed it here. So, whether you're checking the time at a normal angle or sneakily glancing at it from the side in a boring meeting, you'll still be able to read it just fine. Now, here's something that genuinely impressed me. The bluish-green electroluminescent yellow backlight. For a watch that costs less than a fast food meal, I was expecting a weak, uneven glow, Maybe just a tiny light on one side struggling to illuminate the display. But nope, Skmei went all out. The entire panel lights up evenly, making it easy to read in complete darkness. This is a huge plus because, let's be honest, budget digital watches sometimes have backlights that are either too dim to be useful or so uneven that only half the screen is visible. But here, the whole display gets a nice, clean glow, just like what you'd get on a Casio. I was genuinely surprised at this price point. It's not just a small flashlight for the numbers. It actually makes the entire screen pop in the dark. Whether you're checking the time in bed, in a dark movie theater, or pretending to be a spy in a power outage, this backlight has got you covered. Now let's talk about the alarm. It's not too loud, not too soft, just normal, right in that sweet spot where it's noticeable but not obnoxious. Honestly, it's on par with Casio in terms of volume. So if you've used a Casio digital watch before, you'll know what to expect. It's loud enough to wake you up if you're in a quiet room. But if you're in a noisy environment, like a crowded cafe or a construction site, don't count on it saving you from being late. It's more of a gentle reminder rather than a wake up now kind of alarm. Overall, it does its job. Nothing too special, nothing too disappointing. Just a simple, functional alarm that won't scare the life out of you, but also won't go completely unnoticed. Slapping this watch on my wrist, I have to say, it feels just right. The 38mm case size sits nicely on my slender 6.5-inch wrist. Not too big, not too small, just that perfect retro digital watch size. It's comfortable and lightweight, but thanks to the metal case and bracelet, it has a bit more heft compared to resin-cased digital watches like Casio's A171. That extra weight makes it feel a little more solid, more rugged, and less like a toy. This size makes it a great option for both small and medium wrists, and honestly, it's unisex. Whether you're going for a classic vintage vibe or just want a simple, affordable digital watch that doesn't look oversized, this one checks the box. And the best part? It's versatile. You can rock it with a casual outfit, jeans and a t-shirt, no problem. Want to throw it on with a dress shirt for a more polished look? Still works. It's got that retro charm that blends well with different styles, making it a surprisingly solid choice for both casual and semi-formal wear. So, if you have a huge wrist, this might look a bit too small. But for the rest of us, it's a nice, compact fit that wears comfortably all day, whether you're chilling out or dressing up a bit. Alright, let's quickly summarize the key features of the Skmei 2146, because let's be real, no one likes reading a long list of specs. Digital display, clear, easy to read, and surprisingly good viewing angles. No ghosting, no disappearing numbers when you tilt it. Electroluminescent EL backlight, a bluish-green glow that lights up the entire display evenly. Perfect for checking the time in the dark without blinding yourself. 38mm alloy case. Looks like stainless steel, but it's actually silver-plated alloy. Still, it gives the watch a solid, slightly rugged feel. Stainless steel bracelet, folded links, rattly, but hey, it's real stainless steel, or so the imprint claims. 4-button layout. Functions include 12 24-hour toggle, start/stop, reset, mode selection, and backlight activation, just like a Casio. Basic alarm. Not too loud, not too soft, just enough to remind you of your responsibilities without scaring you. Hourly time signal, that classic beep beep, every hour on the hour, in case you like being reminded that time is constantly slipping away. 30 water resistance, not 50 meters. This means it's fine for splashes, hand washing, and light rain, but do not swim with it unless you want to test Skmei's return policy. CR 2016 battery, expected to last 2 to 3 years, unless you go crazy with the backlight. Functions, time, chronograph, stopwatch, alarm, date, week display, countdown timer, hourly time signal, EL backlight, and 12 24-hour clock format. Overall, for just $7, you're getting a Casio lookalike with a metal case, decent features, and a backlight that actually works well. Just don't expect it to survive a deep dive or a washing machine accident. Who is the Skmei 2146 for? So, who would actually wear this $7 Casio lookalike? Well, let's break it down. Budget watch enthusiasts. If you love watches but don't want to spend big money, this one lets you scratch that retro itch without emptying your wallet. Casio A171WE fans but cheaper. Want that vintage-inspired, round digital look but don't want to pay Casio prices? Here's your affordable alternative. Casual, everyday wearers. Perfect for daily use, whether you're running errands, heading to work, or just flexing your retro vibes. People who love metal cases. Unlike the resin case on Casio's A171, this one has a metal alloy case, making it heavier, sturdier, and a bit more rugged. Small to medium wrist sizes, with a 38mm case size and slim 9.3mm profile. This watch sits comfortably on smaller wrists and works well for both men and women. Retro lovers and nostalgia seekers. If you love the iconic digital watch designs of the 70s and 80s, the Skmei 2146 brings that classic aesthetic with modern reliability. People who check the time in the dark. Thanks to its bluish-green EL backlight, you can see the time even in complete darkness. Great for late-night snack runs or pretending to check the time when you're actually just ignoring someone. Those who don't need to swim with their watch. With 30 meters of water resistance, it's fine for hand washing, rain, and maybe some accidental splashes, but don't even think about diving into a pool with it. Who is it not for? Not a fan of Skmei or copycat models. If you only buy original brand watches and can't stand homages, knockoffs, or Casio lookalikes, you'll probably want to skip this one. Serious divers, 30 meters of water resistance is just a fancy way of saying keep it dry. People who hate rattly bracelets. The folded link stainless steel bracelet does the job, but it does rattle like pocket change. Feature chasers. If you need solar charging, Bluetooth, or atomic timekeeping, this watch will leave you disappointed, but $7 richer. Final verdict. If you want a cheap, stylish, and functional retro digital watch, the Skmei 2146 is an absolute steal. It's not perfect, but at this price point, it doesn't need to be. Just don't take it swimming, and you're golden. Final thoughts. So, after 10 months of occasional wear, the Skmei 2146 is still ticking, still looking decent, and still reminding me that I only spent $7 on it. Sure, it's not a premium timepiece, and yes, it's a straight-up copy of the Casio A171WE, but for what it is, it does the job surprisingly well. Would I recommend it? If you like budget-friendly retro digital watches, absolutely. If you're a die-hard Casio purist, well, you probably stopped watching 10 minutes ago. That's the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing, giving a like, and checking out the merch. It really helps out the channel. See you in the next one. Bye for now.